Good afternoon. This is Beebe with Rock Dot Mandalas. Today we're going to be working on creating a circular pattern using different size dots to make a circular design. Yours can be unique, or you can follow along with me. Here we have an example of one of a painted black, and here we have two samples of a natural stone. I love the look of the natural stone, but the one painted with black definitely allows the color to pop. Today we're going to start with the black rock, and we're going to start by prepping our tools. First, we're going to use a Q-tip. On one side of our Q-tip, and you can do this with a couple, you're going to take the cotton off to make a medium small dot shape. And we'll use the full side to make a rather large dot shape. Pull this off. If you'd like, you can take a little bit of paint to paste down some of the cotton flyaways. Just take a little bit of paint, roll it around and smooth down some of the sides. And we'll let that dry as we get started. Our other tool is a sharpened pencil. We'll be using both the point and the eraser, so you want a fresh eraser to create some of the dots. Now, mandalas are rooted in Buddhism and are meant to be a meditation to clear your head before entering prayer. So these should be relaxing and you can work intuitively. I'm going to show you a couple of different techniques and you can follow along or go ahead and work on your own, whatever inspires you. Now, I have 4 colors plus white. The addition of white allows for me to mix lighter colors if you'd like to use more than the 4 colors provided. Now you can see the size dots. You're just going to lightly dip it in and you can tap it off. The harder you press, the more it will spread out and the bigger the dot. The lighter you press, a little bit smaller of a dot. So that's our size of our eraser. And when you're done with the color paint, go ahead and wipe that off so you can keep using it. Our orange will allow for very tiny dots with the pencil tip. And if you keep going consecutively, as the paint comes off the pencil tip, your dot will get smaller. And I'm going to show you a technique on how to take advantage of that. Next is our Q-tip that you have the option to smooth down with paint. And this is our dot size. So medium small. And finally, our full cotton Q-tip. A pretty large dot. As you can see, the paint comes off quite quickly. So you're gonna want to keep your Q-tip or whatever tool you're using well loaded or charged to keep a consistent dot. And those are our 4 dot sizes. What's nice about having the color white is it really pops on the rock. So we're going to start with our eraser, dip it in some white, and I'm going to tap it off a little, and then I'm going to approximate the center. And just go ahead and push down. and I'm gonna just begin there. You could use the full cotton swab. I like to start a little bit bigger for center focal point and then go back in and add some more color as we go. Next, I'm gonna use my tip of my cotton swab that I took the cotton off. I'm gonna select a color, and the easiest way I find to start is by making a cross. Load it back up so I get a consistent dot and start there. As you build the pattern will get a little bit busier and you won't notice any imperfections as much. Now you have the choice to sing with the same color, or you can go ahead and switch it up, and you're just gonna fill in between the dots. Now as we start to work out, we're gonna wanna allow some space so that as the paint dries, we can go back in and fill it in with our smaller dots, and we'll make our smaller dots using our pencil tip. So I've used my eraser tip and the cotton swab that I took the cotton off of. Now I'm gonna use my full cotton swab tip, and I'm gonna, again, you could rotate it, space it out a little, and you can lightly dab again if you're not getting the full shape you want. And I'm gonna make a cross again. Alright. Then I'm gonna go in again with the Q-tip that doesn't have cotton on it. And I'm gonna go in between the green dots and add 2 purple dots. 1, 2. And I find it very helpful to rotate the rock as I work, so I get a more straight 90-degree angle as I apply the paint. Alright, and then you just begin to work around that. I like to keep using the cross pattern to guide me. And we start to get some symmetry when we repeat colors. Now I'm gonna bring in my pencil tip and start to fill in between. So I'm gonna take my yellow, and I'm gonna show you a technique that we talked about earlier with the pencil tip. So I have a loaded pencil tip. I'm gonna start at the center of this white dot, make a dot, and then make three more dots. Then I'm going to start in the center again and make 3 dots. And you can see that it will get a little bit smaller. And you're gonna repeat the center dot. So I'm gonna go 1, 1, 2, 3. I had a little bit extra paint on my tip when I did that one. So I'm gonna, sometimes our pencils get loaded, so I'm gonna clean that off and try again. Dip my pencil into the paint. I'm gonna repeat the center dot and then add 1, 2, 3. Start to get smaller. Again, load my pencil up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up, and you can see here it got nice and smaller as paint left the pencil tip. I'm gonna reload. I'm gonna repeat this first one. 1, 1, 2, 3. Like I said, any imperfections as you get more detailed kind of get lost in the mass of dots. I'm gonna go back to this one, repeat it, 1, 1, 2, and I'm gonna leave that one so it doesn't get too clumpy. Do this side, 1, 1, 2, 3. And I like to rotate my rock as I do that. What we're gonna eventually do is, as our dots that we applied here dry, we're gonna be able to go back in and add more color, layer color within the dots. But while we wait for that to dry, I'm just gonna keep going through. I like working with the yellow for the small dots, and fill in. So I'm gonna do 1, 2 above my blue-green paint, 1, 2, 1, 2. Remember to load the pencil back up to keep consistency. And I'm just gonna keep filling in. You can begin to work intuitively and follow what feels right to you. Again, this is supposed to be relaxing, and so we want to get a little bit lost in the repetition of making a dot. And just working as fast as you need to. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You would have the option, if you continue to do this and practice mandalas, to sketch it out first, but I think it's more relaxing to work as you go and work more intuitively, and try to clear your minds. Just focus on making the dot. And again, I'm still working on the cross pattern, mirroring what I do on each side, and then as I go, I'll begin to fill in and it'll become more circular. So I'm gonna go back to my Q-tip that has no cotton on it. And I begin to fill in more of a circle shape. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're starting to see the circle fill in. I'm gonna add some white in between these purple dots. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And again, the harder you press, the more the paint will spread out. I'm going to go back to my eraser and I'm going to add big dots one more time. I'm going to use my teal. And this starts to get on the edge, spill over a little bit. Another technique you can use is not just working in a circle, but kind of radiating out like a sun. And as you work to the edges, it starts to get a little trickier where you can hold it, so you can always pause and wait for the paint to dry before handling it. So now go 1, 2 out, 1, 2, load my pencil back up, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I'm going to stop and look, rotate around, and continue to fill in between our bigger spaces. Do 3 there. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And remember, if you get any paintage on the side, you can always take black and touch that back up. Or if you're gonna put this in your garden and I don't, then you can just press it in and it won't be seen. 1, 2, 3. I really think the key to art is creative problem solving, making a mistake and rolling with it, trying to make something even better out of that mistake. Okay. We're gonna start adding in color to the center. See, my paint has started to dry. I'm gonna get a fresh cotton Q-tip with no cotton. And I'm gonna start layering in color. Take my time looking at what colors I've already done. And the drier it is, the less likely it is to mix. So it's a little bit of a patience game. And now you can wait for those dots to dry, and when they dry, you can go back in with your pencil tip and continue to layer the color. One thing I like to do with these smaller dots is to give the illusion that there's a dot kind of within it. I put a dot a little bit above, and it has this interesting effect. Keep your pencil loaded. And I can wipe that off. And I can start adding color within color. And you can get as intricate or as simple as you like. You could really work on this for a very long time. I think some people enjoy meditating for long times, and other people just need a couple of minutes to clear their head. I find this repetition very relaxing. Continuing to add more and more color. And it starts to get more intricate. Now that these side pieces are a little more dry, I'm going to repeat that dot technique. Start in the center, 1, 2, 3. Load your pencil back up, start in the center, 1, 2, 3. Start in the center, 1, 2, 3. Start in the center, 1, 2, 3. Gonna switch it up. Go back to Q-tip with no cotton and add in dots. As you can see, any imperfections start to get lost as you develop your dot pattern. You can test to see how dry your paint is. And now, remember, I started this first white dot with the eraser, then I used the Q-tip with no cotton, and now I'm going to go back and add in a third color. Just continue to fill it in. And I'm gonna call that complete for now. You can always go back, and you can always begin again. Thank you for joining me.